Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sincerely Self podcast. Today, I'm so excited. We are joined by a very amazing guest. She is a certified coach, a best-selling author, and also the founder of Collective Studio. Today, we are joined by Pia Leichter. Pia, give us a little insight into your journey and kind of what got you into the creative space.
Lexi, it's so nice to be here. It feels like we've been planning this for a long time, and I'm glad we can finally make it happen. So, thank you so much for having me on. My journey into creativity, well, it began at a really young age. I mean, from when I was born as a little kid, because I was surrounded by creativity. My dad is an abstract painter. So I grew up in a world of color and form and shape. And it really very much felt like creativity was just what we did as humans. As you'll see in my book, if you're a human, you're an artist at work, right? So I think we might just lose touch with that as we get older. So luckily, I was in a world that was very creative. My dad would paint with paint splattered jeans, and I would write on the floor about princesses who didn't need a prince to wake up. It was only as I got older that I discovered that, people viewed creativity as also something special or unique or gifted to the chosen few, which is definitely a myth. I love smashing because we are wired to be creative. So
Mhm.
that's the beginning of my creative journey. Witnessing my father make a living in on the Lower East Side, Manhattan, New York City, back in the 80s. It's like my dad was my hero in so many ways because he followed and did what he was moved to do, what he was passionate about, no matter what the cost. But I witnessed a cost. So I think
Mhm.
that led to the development of a belief or a story as a kid that I scripted or that I inherited, that when you color outside of society's prescriptive lines, you pay a rebellion tax, right?
Mhm.
So I always equated like, oh, doing what you love and creating and, following that passion full tilt is financially challenging and difficult. And so that led me into the world of like advertising and marketing, where I worked as a creative director and copywriter and creative strategist, for well over a decade, until I finally launched Collective Studio that blends sort of creative coaching and everything I used to do, creative direction, copywriting, and strategy to help bring wild visions and ventures into the world to create an impact.
I love that. And I think it's so cool that you grew up in such like a creative household because I think it's true. Kids are organically so creative. We just have no, like you were saying, we have no scripting or no beliefs yet that that is wrong or that you're not able to do that. And so I think that's so cool that you had a household that like embraced it and that you're able to pinpoint the moment where that scripting kind of kicked in and where those limiting beliefs kind of kicked in. And I think it's cool that you eventually were able to overcome them and be like, you know what? I can mesh commercial and artwork and all the things and be successful with it.
Yeah, and I think you might have mentioned this in another earlier episode of your podcast that like healing is a journey. I
Hmm.
think that it's a journey to rescript, right? It's like we get challenged in different ways and every day of like, oh, is it safe for me to just create? Like when I wrote my book, it was one of those moments where I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I don't only have to channel my creativity into creating a commercial venture, I can also just
Hmm.
make stuff. And I had forgotten
Yeah.
that somehow. And I was like, whoa, why is this an epiphany? Oh my God. I get to channel my creativity, just make things. And yes, we always hope that it touches someone, that something comes through or out of it, but it doesn't necessarily have to. And I'm still going to make it. So that I think,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to share that example as it's it's like a rescript for life. Like old beliefs come
Seriously.
in, and then we have like new epiphanies. You're like, oh, that script is still there because this feels like a gift or a play for me. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a lifelong journey of
Yeah, I
rescript.
love that you mentioned that because that's so true. Constantly, I think we will never reach a point where we've overcome all of the scripting completely, and even sometimes we think we maybe have overcome like a limiting belief, and then it hits us again and we're like, wait a minute. So I think, yeah, we got to normalize the healing journey. Sometimes you take a couple back steps and then you go forward again, and that's just the beauty of it.
Absolutely. I think, with every step forward, every time that we move in the direction of what we really desire or dream of, despite the fear, and we take that risk, I think we have new layers of the script are revealed that we get to rewrite or we just become aware of. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's still operating, but it takes that action. I don't think
Hmm.
it will be revealed or the opportunity to rescript presents itself unless we're moving towards something that really matters to us.
Exactly. Pia, I want to pick your brain really quick because you are so aware of just like your mind, your subconscious mind, the impact of your thoughts and how they can limit you. And I think that's something that, especially in my audience, I've noticed a lot of people, we're all working on it, you know? And so for you, what are some of the tactics you've used to be able to identify like a belief that's holding you back?
Well, one of the things that really helps me, and it's it's definitely not rocket science, but it's borrowed from Julia Cameron's The Artist Way seminal book
Mhm.
on creativity and also spirituality. Creativity is spiritual practice, and she talks about morning pages. And I discovered that, oh my God, I think I was in like just entering college or something many years ago. And that has been such a huge help to connect with myself and my thoughts and my emotions and what's coming up. And it's really a practice of free writing. It's not trying to sound good or any of it. It's just allowing yourself early in the morning or in liminal spaces. I actually tried before going to bed. That is an interesting place too. It's like when you're in the space between sleeping and waking and your subconscious is a little bit more active and you're a bit more vulnerable and open of just allowing whatever is present to come out and tumble onto the page. And I think meeting yourself daily is how one heightens awareness, self-awareness.
Mhm.
And there are different ways and different doorways in, and we get to practice. Meditation is another one for me. It was much later in life that I kind of got into develop my meditation practice. In the beginning, I was like, "What? Sit down
Yeah, you're like, wait a
quietly."
minute.
Wait a minute, but it's actually been transformational in so many ways. Sometimes I like
Mhm.
meditate and then I journal because I laugh at myself because sometimes when I'm journaling, I'll write, while I was meditating, the thought that like came up. And I know, of course, technically people say it's about quieting the mind, but for me, it's more about observing the mind rather
Yeah.
than judging and just being like, oh, that thought is here. And so I think
Hmm.
meeting yourself daily, whether it's through movement, I also find movement is really helpful because then I'm out of my head. So I do a practice called the class, which I love. And I have like
Hmm.
a pen and paper nearby because sometimes ideas
Just in
pop up
case.
well, they pop up when I'm moving because my brain
Hmm.
is kind of not, my thinking mind is not activated in the same way. And then the body holds so much wisdom. Other
Oh,
things
yeah.
are able to come through felt
Hmm.
senses or just like words or flashes or intuitive hits. So those are like my three very grounding practices to heighten my own self-awareness. And of course,
Hmm.
they feed into my creativity.
Oh, 100%. I feel like the relationship that you have with yourself and how well you know yourself is the key to unlocking your creativity, unlocking what you feel like is your purpose, and just the things that interest you. Because I think we all go through a period of time where we're like, what do I like? Like, what do I like to do? What do I want to do? And journaling, meditation, those are also things that I like to do as well. And me a couple years ago would have been like, meditating? What? Because like you said, it feels really tricky at first, but sometimes it like the energy release, or like you said, the thoughts that kind of go through your mind while you're meditating, sometimes they answer those questions or they're able to give you some clarification that you never thought you would have been able to get. So I love those. I love those outlets that you've been able to find.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing yours as well. We have similar
Hmm.
practices. And I
Yes.
love what you said about, connecting to self is really how you connect to your creativity because the most creative act is creating from this word is overused, but I can't think of a better one, is creating from a really authentic, raw you space. Like when you're
Hmm.
really anchored in yourself and you're creating from that space, there's nothing more
Hmm.
creative because there's nothing more original than you, Lexi. Like there's no
Yeah.
other Lexi like you in the world. So when you
Hmm.
really tune into that unique frequency and signature and you create from that space, it's
Mhm.
bound to be beautifully creative and unique and original and unexpected. And it will
Mhm.
definitely look different from anything else that's out there. And I think that's
Yeah.
where bravery is required, because often when it looks different, you're like, hey, wait a minute. Like, this doesn't look like what anyone else is doing. Am I doing something wrong? Or maybe I should follow what, Bob, whoever has to say, because look, that person's been a success. But I think that takes us further away from our creativity and also off
Mhm.
our path. So it's about
Yeah.
sort of staying connected to self and having the courage to express in a way, also through the design of your life, not only what you create, that is uniquely
Mhm.
you and won't look like anything else out there.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing that up because I feel like a very common limiting belief, especially in people who maybe want to take an entrepreneur path or something that they feel like is like off the grain, is that other people aren't doing it. Like, I don't look like what other people are doing, or that it's too oversaturated and that they're not going to be able to be successful. But like you were saying, the more authentic is really the best word. It is
It is,
overused,
right?
but I'm like, I can't think of a different one either. But the more yourself that you are, you're right. There's no one else that's exactly like you, has the same authenticity that you do. And that's what makes you be successful. And that's what makes you stand out. And I feel like success comes when you do stand out a little bit, even though it does kind of make us feel a little bit fearful of being seen.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And I also think if you add in AI, not to get trendy or anything, but it's everywhere, right? So it's like if
Oh,
you
yeah.
add that element in, I think the need for our humanity, our beautiful imperfections. Like I actually like ums. I was editing
Yeah.
a video I made and I'm like, no, I'm not going to remove that filler word because it feels natural, it feels human. And I think like our story, there's no AI could ever replicate your story, your lived experience, or how you express it. No way.
Hmm.
If you're
Yeah.
writing something templatable, yeah, forget about it. AI is all over it. And so I think there's even more of a pull and a desire for real, vulnerable human stories that feel deeply
Yes.
authentic and personal. And I believe vulnerability is the gateway to connection because it's
Hmm.
universal. We're human. We're
Yes.
vulnerable on this spinning rock in the middle of the Milky Way. It's a vulnerable existence. It's also terrifying and beautiful, and we connect through that vulnerability. But we
Hmm.
have to be, as you said, we have to be brave enough to also be seen, and
Hmm.
that's not easy, but it's definitely fulfilling.
Fulfilling is the best word that I could even think to describe it, even though it does take time and it takes practice. And for me, what I did was I used a lot of affirmations and journaling. Like you mentioned, you love journaling. I love journaling, and specifically writing out the thoughts that I want to be in my head, even if they're not there yet. The repetition of writing them down and seeing them and repeating them, I've noticed that that kind of works. So for you, what was some of those like tricks that you had to tell your brain to get it to be okay with being seen?
Oh man, that's such a good question. Well, I don't know if it's a trick, but and I'm really curious about what some of your go-to affirmations are. So I'll ask you in a second. But like
Okay.
mine in the morning are, I trust myself completely. I trust life completely. And sometimes it's like I trust life. Like
Mm-hmm.
I trust the universe. I trust life completely. That grounds me in a way. It's really simple, but it grounds me. Also, I trust my body. I trust my intuition. To me, it's keyword trust, but I really trust life. And trusting
Mm-hmm.
life to me means that even though things might not work out like how I think they should, they're working out for my benefit, in my favor, even if it might not feel like that in the moment. And that helps anchor me through uncertainty, and it
Yeah.
keeps me more excited about uncertainty than fearful, because uncertainty is both of those things. And
Mm-hmm.
whenever you're putting something creative out into the world or you're moving in new directions, it's going to be uncertain because it's new and unknown. So it's, how do we want to be in that uncertainty? Well, I would rather be in a place of like trust, like let's see. That doesn't necessarily answer your question of being seen. I think I think the story I was meant to write in the beginning, when I started writing my book, I had an idea for like, oh, this is what the book needs to do, and this is what it's going to be about. And I got
Mm-hmm.
stuck, because that was not the story that was asking to come through.
Yeah.
And so when I got out of my way and I let go and I said, okay, whatever is meant to emerge, like I'm going to allow it and I'm going to write it, then the book started to sort of write itself. And I never imagined sharing as many vulnerable stories of how I lost and found my creative power. But that felt really important to me because I have a little rebel inside me. And I don't really like when people tell me how to do things. I'd rather they
Hmm.
show me how they did it, and then
Yeah.
I get inspired in that way. So I really wanted to be at eye level. I didn't want it to be like a how to, and this is what you need to do. I wanted to be like, hey, here are some of the things that I went through that, helped me reclaim and rediscover what's always been mine, which is my creativity. And here's what I believe creativity really is. And hey, guess
Hmm.
what? You've always been a member of the creative club. The card is in your back pocket. You might just have forgotten. So I just want to remind you. And that was really the
Yeah.
energy of the book, to be at eye level. So being seen, well, I didn't really think about it when I was writing it.
Uh-huh.
I was
It
just
just
writing it.
happened.
Right. And then right before the book was about to like be published and go live, I remember feeling like, oh my God. I was vacillating between two thoughts. What if someone reads this book? Like, what if the other one was, what if no one reads this book? It's like just
Yeah.
fear, right?
The
On both sides.
extremes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then it was just like, hey, I didn't come this far, not to come this far. Deep breath and let's see what happens. And then it felt really, really scary at first. And then it,
Hmm.
it got easier. It got
Yeah.
it got easier, and I think that's
Hmm.
the only way that we build strength to be seen is to take that first step of showing up a bit naked, and then
Hmm.
and then it will feel really I felt that deeply uncomfortable for me, and then it was just
Hmm.
like, well, why wouldn't I stand for my story? But yeah, I went through some stuff that was difficult. So what? It's who I am, and
Hmm.
actually it had a really like without me meaning to a very therapeutic role in me owning all parts of myself and all parts of my story, the bruises and the beauty marks and the shadow and the light, and really standing for old versions of myself that I might have used to hide because I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And I feel like the affirmations that you were mentioning before and the vulnerability of your book, I feel like they go hand in hand. The more, like, really any affirmations you're telling yourself to improve your self-esteem and improve the way that you're able to trust yourself, I feel like that is such a backbone in being able to be vulnerable, is trusting yourself that even if people read this or don't read this, I'm going to be okay. And that I'm part of the reason I'm doing this is for me, but also, like you were saying, that other people can learn from my experience. And I love that that was such an emphasis in your book because I also try and focus on that on this podcast as well, is that the best way to help others is to show them what you did that helped you. And so I love that you were able to channel that into your book.
And I love what you're pointing to because another thing that gives us courage is actually remembering it's not really just about us. And that gave me a
Hmm.
lot of courage with the book. I'm sure that gives you a lot of courage in the podcast to show up in the
Hmm.
beautifully vulnerable way you do. Is that we're doing this in service of. So it's in service of someone else. Like for me, what was, guiding me through the book writing process was also if I'd make an impact in one person's life, that would be aces. That would feel really, really good. And then
Yeah.
it's not about like, who cares about me and my vulnerable story if
Hmm.
maybe I have the power to touch one person, then isn't it worth
Yeah.
taking that risk? And I think when we remember that it's more than just us and more than, it's really about other people and creating community and hopefully creating positive impact, that gives us a shot of courage. It's like, why wouldn't
Yeah.
I do this thing?
Exactly. And I feel like that kind of points at what you were saying a little bit earlier about how vulnerability is what creates connection. And like you were saying, that's how communities are built, and that's how like true, genuine connections are built is off of vulnerability and off of people being real because it unfortunately, I feel like in this day and age, it's very rare to see people being fully authentic and vulnerable. So I love that you have been able to kind of embrace that in your work.
Mm. And another thing as I'm listening to you that popped into my mind is, so let's say we show up and we're seen
Hmm.
and we get rejected because that's the fear, right? Like we'll either be
Yeah.
ridiculed or rejected or whatnot, ostracized. Um, Great. then that person or those people weren't for you. If someone
Yeah.
sees who you are and then they don't vibe with it, good, selection process done. Because we're not going to be for everyone. We're not going to be an energetic match for everyone. That's what I say when something doesn't align. It's like, oh, we weren't an energetic match. We weren't an energetic fit. No harm, no foul on either side. But the flip side of that is people who do see you and go, oh, that's my person. I can so relate. Oh, I want to be connected to this human in some way. I feel drawn to this person. Well, then we allow ourselves to also be really loved, because how can you be fully loved if you don't allow yourself all your parts to be seen, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think it comes bearing so many different gifts if we have the courage to start to remove the layers. And just like healing, and just like mind, like limiting beliefs, it's a process and a practice. Kind of like remove a layer, we might remove another layer, and that's
Yeah.
okay. It doesn't mean we have to show up in lingerie out the bat.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love your perspective on just not energetically aligning with other people because I think our instinctual response is like, what's wrong with me that they don't like me? And instead, like you were saying, it should be, we're just not energetically aligned, and that's okay, and that's totally fine. Like you're saying, natural selection. Like now I know that me and this person are not on the same wavelength, or me and this job or this experience, this place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ex- exactly. And I think it can, you know, especially when it comes to feedback with creative work, when you put something out there, I was deathly like, oh God, dreading the 2-star or 1-star reviews that would inevitably come my way, which is actually a really good thing to remember. Like, I looked at Rick Rubin's. I don't know if you read Rick Rubin's book on creativity.
I have not.
It's really good. I think you would like it a lot. And I think it's a
Mhm.
it's a wonderful book. And I also love Miranda July. So I looked at, when I got my first 2-star review, I felt like two things happened. One, I didn't die. I know that sounds dramatic, but I have a little drama queen living within me. So I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen when I get
Yeah,
this
like
2-star
that's worst
review?
case scenario.
It's like I didn't die. I was fine. It was actually not as bad as I thought it would be. I got this. It's okay. Yeah, it stung. That's cool. It's gonna sting, right? And then it was
Mhm.
okay. It was like I gave myself the pep talk, and I looked at these people who I really respect their work, and I think they're doing great. They have thousands of reviews, and they also will have a lot of 1-star reviews. And it was just a reminder. It wasn't because I get joy out of seeing someone else's 1-star review. It's just a reminder of we're not going to be for everyone. And if
Yeah,
we're putting ourselves out there, our work out there, whether it's a podcast or a book or a business, we're gonna get 1-star reviews. So can we manage our emotions in that? And can we trust ourselves? And can we also separate both the praise and the criticism from who we are?
yeah,
Because often it's a reflection, not to say we don't take responsibility for our behavior, but it's a reflection of the other person more than it might be of you.
100%. Yeah, I think that's something that we kind of lose a lot of the time in the process is like not taking other people's opinions, negative or positive, and letting it control how we view our work or ourselves. And yeah, being able to appreciate the negative and the positive, but not letting it affect how you feel overall.
Absolutely. I think that's what releasing this book has been part of teaching me. And back to what we were saying earlier, I think we learn through action, through doing. So there's no way I could have prepared myself for a 2-star review until I got it. And then I was able to have these pep talks to myself and think about it differently and reframe it and be like, okay, it's actually it's the same thing. The praise, someone sees something in me or my work that they recognize in themselves that they really appreciate. Criticism, maybe that's the same thing. They see something in myself or the work that is a reflection of something that they might not appreciate about themselves. It's the same
Mhm.
bucket. And so to be able to
Yeah.
separate yourself from that, I think is part of your creative freedom, because then you're
Mhm.
like, whether it's, tomatoes or roses, I'm okay. I'm on stage. I'm still going to show up on stage. I'm going to share, and I'm going to create, and I'm going to make to connect and to impact, and it doesn't matter what comes my way. It doesn't mean we won't feel sting, just to like normalize that. Like
Yeah.
I had a little bit of Ben and Jerry moment, after the 2-star
Hmm.
review and allowed
Yeah.
myself to feel that, and then it passes. It's all right.
Yeah, validating your emotions and knowing that whatever
Yeah.
you feel is okay. Let
Yeah.
yourself feel it. And yeah,
Yeah.
just don't dwell on it too much. Yes.
Exactly.
So Pia, we've mentioned your book a lot throughout this conversation, and you've just give such good advice. I had to pick your brain so quickly. But the last thing I do want to touch on is, yeah, what can someone expect to hear in your book?
Well, what someone I'm for me, it's part memoir, part guide, part gentle rebellion is what I call it.
Hmm.
And I think people can expect to be taken on a wild ride, as shaking up everything they might have thought they knew about creativity, and really invited to reclaim and apply their innate creativity to the design of their lives. So as you read through different chapters, there are subtle shifts that start to be created. And by the end of the book, you'll feel some type of transformation.
Yeah. Pia actually sent me her book before we recorded the podcast, and I had the opportunity to read it. And it is so beautifully written and very authentic. Like, I know we keep saying that's such an overused word, and it really is, but I love how I could tell you were just saying what you were thinking without worrying about what other people were going to think and just genuinely how you felt. And I feel like that vibration of just raw, honest opinion and feelings is just such a high vibration that people can feel. So I really encourage everyone to go and read Pia's book and just see what you can learn about yourself from her story.
Oh, it's beautiful. I got the chills twice listening to you say that. Thank you so much. I really,
Yes,
that means a lot. I
yes,
appreciate
of
it.
course, of
Also,
course.
what affirmations do you go to in the
Oh,
morning?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my morning ones, I would say one that I really love to use just where I do a podcast where I talk with people, and I'm sure this is something that you have said a few times to yourself, is that I radiate love and light and that my words help people. Those are ones that I like to say so that I'm able to channel that part of me that, hopefully something I say impacts someone. I also try and say that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I feel like when bad things are happening, sometimes we're like, why? Why? And I just try and remind myself I don't need to know the why. It's happening because it needs to. And then the last one that I try and tell myself is that I'm worthy of being seen and I'm worthy of being heard. And that one really, really helped with my fear of being seen and worrying what people thought. And just knowing that they think good, they think bad, it's going to be okay. I'm worthy of people hearing it and making an opinion either way.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Those are amazing, inside
Thank
and
you.
out. Those are really inspiring. And I don't know, it would be great for if anyone out there listening also has some affirmations they
Yes.
use that they'd like to share. Because I think it's wonderful to do it in community and to be like, yes, girl, I love that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna use that one.
I'm
I
gonna
also,
steal that one.
yeah, well, I'm worthy of being seen and heard is really, really, really powerful. And not to make it a gender thing, I'm sure that it speaks for many different people, but I think especially as women, that feels really powerful to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this community is primarily women. And that is something that I think as women we do struggle with is
Yeah,
feeling okay to be seen and feeling okay to be heard with our opinions and everything. And so,
yeah.
yeah, everywhere people are listening to this episode, whether you're watching it on YouTube or whether you're listening to it, comment down below some of your favorite morning affirmations. And yeah, well, let's share them because really, if it's helping one of us, it will help someone else as well.
Absolutely. And you are radiating love and light and making an
Oh,
impact in
thank
people's
you.
lives from this podcast. I could feel it through the whole episode and the ones that I listened to. So I'm so glad that you're showing up for yourself and us in this way.
Oh, thank you so much. And your story, Pia, seriously, I just know your community is in awe of you from how just unapologetically you are yourself and how much you embrace just being creative and knowing that it's just all a part of all of us, really.
Mm.
So thank you for being able to show up in that way for the world.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope we continue this conversation, Lexi, in a variety of different, or stay in touch in different ways.
Yes, yes, we will have to have Pia on the podcast again,
Woohoo!
100%. We must have a part two. So thank you, Pia, for joining us today, and we will see you again soon.
See you again soon, Lexi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and I will see you guys next week.